This video is sponsored by Single Point Solution. Single Point is pioneer in production and distribution of electric vehicles like electric bikes, electric scooters and three-wheelers. Single Point also provide consulting services to small F players.
Hello friends, this is Chandrakant from Akulmach Technologies. Today, I would like to indulge your attention in understanding the media business and why the word called TRP is so critical. So we will discuss a little bit about the media business and then see that, try to relate to the current news which is floating around, specifically in the news media. So if you understand the media business in nutshell, it consists of 3 to 4 different prongs. One of the prong is television, which can be further divided into multiple prongs. But then broadly, if you look at the media business, it starts from print media to radio to television. And now lately for last 5 to 6 years, the digital media, which is mostly running on internet. So these different kinds of media runs on predominantly on the subscription business or on the advertisers. So most of the income which all the media makes or their turnover is all coming from the advertisers. So the whole business of TRPs or impressions, as we call it now, is because they want to have more and more advertisers coming on their media and paying money, or sometimes if not more, then whatever they are doing, they should be able to ask for more advertising revenue from the same set of advertisers. So this is why the the TRPs are very important if you are in the media business, even if you are in digital media or a television. So if you look at the television, in fact, we will look at the television only because there are other ways to calculate the viewership of other medias. For example, in case of print media, you know that how many people are paying for your newspaper or magazine, and that translates into your footprint in the market. So you can very well quantify that, I have so many editions sold, so many copies sold, and that's my footprint. And that is why the advertisers will come and the media house will offer, especially the print media, that your advertisement will get visibility up to these many people who have purchased their media. When it comes to radio, they know exactly how many people are listening, tuning into their program, because again, it's a subscription-based model, and the radios can then demand the fee that they were asking for from their advertisers. When it comes to digital platform, then things are very clear. Since it is running on the internet, you can track how many people are watching, how many views are there on your media, how many subscribers you have. So everything is very, very transparent when it comes to digital media. It is not transparent when it comes to television. And that is why there was a need to come up with a solution where the televisions themselves can say, hey, this is my viewership, and this is what the value I would like to demand. And because of this issue, the TRP was introduced many decades back as a measure of how many people are watching. So we will understand this in more detail. From now on, we will discuss only about the television media, which is driving the TRPs. The television media can be divided further into different segments. One is the entertainment, which is the serials and the soap operas, movies, or any entertainment-based channels. The other can be a news-based channels, which is all the news which is happening, things which are happening around, and so on. And the third could be the information or education-based, like Discovery and all those. So here, each of these televisions media drive their own audiences, and they have their own time at which maximum number of people are watching them. So the TRP was introduced to measure what channel is doing what kind of driving what kind of traffic on the using their programs, and what kind of audience are there. So the TRP is supposed to be, as the word stands for, it's the rating. It's a rating of what people are watching. And if you look at the population of the world, there are so many people watching so many different kind of content. So the TRP had to be very, very complex formula, because the way TRPs are calculated is based on some algorithm. So I will talk about those little later, but let's understand the TRP business little bit in more detail. Now, why TV channels are running behind TRPs is simply because they can then go and throw this number on the advertisers and say that, hey, if you advertise on my content, on my channel, then you tend to get this benefit, this kind of audiences for your advertisements. So more number of people watching that merchandise on my program, that means the advertiser will get more benefit. So it's a very, very clear method of selling their content. Now, the advertisers are not typically contacting the uh, media houses of different kinds. They are coming through the advertising agencies. So advertising agencies basically also use this TRP number to drive their revenue, because they will engage with the enterprise and say that, hey, if you have this kind of money, I will advertise you in these options. So each TV channel publishes their TRPs on almost daily basis, or in the worst case scenario on a week basis. They have also divided the time zones. And each time zones are charged separately. Say, for example, the morning time zone is relatively cheaper because fewer people are watching, and in the evening, when the things really heat up, people want to get entertained, people want to get information. So they started calling these evening time zones as prime time. So prime time is the most expensive commodity on the TV today, and that is why this TRP related to specifically prime time are very, very expensive. So through an advertising agency, if a merchandise want to advertise their product during prime time and also during on multiple channels, the cost could be driven straight away from the TRP, because then they are saying that, this TRP of this channel is driving so many viewership of my advertisement. So it's a very straightforward thing, and that is why the TRPs are calculated by the TV channels and published almost daily. Although the media business is not very heavily regulated, I mean, there are regulations which are in terms of what type of programs each channel, each media can publish, but there's a lot of freedom given in the law, and you can pretty much register yourself as a particular type of media, and you can start publishing your work. So it could be a print media, or it could be a television. Since in this video we are talking about the TRPs, the TRP is are basically free for all until 2010, and there were the TRP word itself was very heavily misused, in fact abused. So each person will do his own research and publish his own ERP. Each channel were coming out with their own TRPs, and because of that, there was a need felt that it should be some sort of consolidation should be there, and the industry should have some sort of norm. So the agency which is giving TRP is called BARC, which is a conglomerate of all the top media houses. And even though it is not a government body, it is a private body, but still BARC actually gives a rating for each channel, and their TRP reports are very, very elaborate, and they use only one formula for everyone. So it is not that each person will have their own rating, each channel will have their own rating, but at least BARC has consolidated the whole idea of coming out with the rating, viewership rating, and gives one rate, use one formula for every channel, so that it is more transparent. Now, how BARC gets their feed, how BARC will get who is watching what. And so that is a big challenge, and the only way to do that, to understand who is watching what content, you have to do actual analysis of what people are watching. So far, there are two clear methods to collect the viewership data of all the programs, and there are certain households in all the cities or villages are selected, and they have been they were given the BARC meters. Now these are the meters which are fitted to your devices, your television sets, and these devices will collect information like what channel was played for how long. So when you get the BARC meter installed in your city, then the data about the age group of family member is also captured there. So this gives, this kind of input gives BARC a clear picture on what age group is watching what program, and they use a very complex algorithm which is kept secret. It is not open in the market, but they apply that algorithm to everyone so that there is a TRP. When the TRP reports are released, they are common for the all channel, all types of media houses. So that way, this whole business of releasing TRP is sort of standardized, and the algorithm is not leaked out to anyone. It is kept very closely guarded secret. But the problem is that the footprint of these BARC meters are limited. For example, you and I will not like to get the meter in our house, because even though we are not watching something which is not legitimate, it's just that I don't want that information to go out at what type of viewership my household is showing. So it's very few who would like to get this meter installed in their houses, and each city will not have more than 20 people, 15 to 20 people household where these meters are installed. So net, if you look at a large country like India, there may be about 50 to 60,000 meters which are installed across India, and the inputs are taken from these meters, and then BARC applies an algorithm to come out with uh, the TRP ratings. The TRP ratings are always given in thousands, so that when you see a rating of say 1,000, it actually means 1 crore, 10 million basically. So this is how these BARC ratings are given, and using these ratings, the revenue is driven for the TV channels. Now, if somebody knows that he has a meter, and even though some rent is getting paid for it, it is very easy for these household which are 10, 15, and in fact everybody will know that who has the meter. It's not a rocket science to know which household has a meter in his apartment or a house. So since so much money is riding on the TRPs, it is very easy to offer a monetization scheme to all these people. So more innovation started happening around this, this kind of thing where the TRP can be manipulated, where you start paying some money to these household, and these household will then come up with, just switch on the TV, put it on mute, and tune one channel and keep it running for 24/7. So for doing that, a payment mechanism could have been set up. I don't know for sure, because that is needs to be investigated. But this is one method of manipulating the TRP, where one of the TV can be dedicated, and whoever pays the money, that channel can be played, because there are not many meters installed across the country. The whole extrapolation happens using an algorithm, so the TRP rating can be manipulated by this method. The next innovation people found is that when the Android set-top boxes were installed, since Android is a operating system, you can actually set up a landing page. Just like when you start your set-top box of Reliance or Tata Sky, you get to see a page. So internally, you can configure to land on a channel's page, and then you don't even have to switch on the TV. I mean, you just switch on the set-top box and that's it. And the meter will think that the channel is running because you have landed on a page which is of a channel. So these are the manipulations which were possible. The third method of collecting data is using a software, so which is the most prevalent data that BARC uses. And many times you would see a number flashing on your screen. Out of the blue, you're watching your best movie, and then suddenly in one corner you see a number flashing. So this is basically coming from a technology that BARC has come up with to collect the data without the meter itself. So you don't have to physically get into meter, you just display that number on the screen, and then the technology will then copy that image itself. And then there will be some technology where all these images are tallied in the backend in the BARC office, and based on that number and that image, what channel was running at that point in time, extrapolation can be done using the algorithm. So these are the various methods of coming out with the TRP rating. And this is a modus operandi of the BARC, and the BARC comes out with very complex TRP reports, which not only say that the channel is getting seen by the viewers with age group, with male female segregation, but also they come out with commodities based TRP. For example, in commodities like fans, ice cream, chocolates, how many people are watching those ads. So the BARC report is very, very comprehensive. Each of the commodities which are coming on TV and advertising, their TRPs are also given by BARC. So it's a very comprehensive work that BARC has done, and it's done common for everything. There is one formula used for everyone, so there could be no manipulation done at that point in time. And now, since the third method is more prevalent for getting data, the BARC data of TRP is more accurate and it is least prone to any manipulation. So now, having understood what is TRP and why TRPs are so important for especially television, because the TRP gives the viewership actual data, and based on this TRP, the revenue for the television can be demanded for from the field, from the advertisers. The problem is that it has become a very cutthroat type of business, simply because in a television scenario, if you divide the television into three segments, which is entertainment, information, and news, then entertainment is clearly the biggest segment, and it takes the top of this channel who have the highest viewers will take the entire advertising revenue and not leave anything for the number two or number three player. So that is why the number one TRP, the person or the channel which has the number one TRP, will take the entire advertising on it, and the number two and number three will only get the leftover. Now that is very similar to any other different segment. For example, information, there are hardly anyone who is advertising there. So those are very, very low value channel. But if you look at the news segment, uh, which is the second driver in the audience numbers, there also the same formula will work. The number one news channel, which is number one, will take all the people advertising on their channel, not leave anything for number two and number three news channels. So that is why in every segment there is a cutthroat business about TRP, and they want to basically win all their revenue, and that is what is driving the whole TRP business. And if you hear this news that recently last week that some channel gave 400 rupees, which is not believable, because there are millions of dollars at stake every day. There is so much revenue. So for 400 rupees, nobody will like to manipulate the data, especially now the BARC is coming out with a newer method. They are moving away from the meter based TRP data collection to actual software, so that the realistic data can be produced and given. Uh, now compare these three segments. The number one is the entertainment segment, which also includes the matches like IPL matches. I'm sure they are driving viewership of more than 2 billion compared to the news channel, which are driving a viewership even 0.5% of this information. So still there is so much fight. I mean, if you look at the 2 billion viewers on entertainment compared to 50 million on news channel, there's hardly any traffic comparison. I mean, even if you fight for that within 50, fight for number one position, there is nothing, there is no value as compared to the entertainment channels. So in this business, winner take all. So it is like that. So if you're number one, you take all the advertising on your channel, and if you're number two or number three, you will only get leftovers. So this is why there is a cutthroat. This is a cutthroat business where people are running to ensure that they are always number one, number two, or number three. There will be a huge slip in their revenue. So, friends, I wanted to discuss and explain what is TRP, and I thought it is relevant to talk about TRP now because there is TRP is in the news. I don't have to say the names, but I think all the whoever is watching knows what I'm talking about. There is a cutthroat war going on with regard to TRP in the media business. So I will end my video here, but I look forward to your comments. Do write in, and I will take your questions in the next program. Until then, I'd like to say bye to you.